So, this is gonna be about the last episode of Give and Take by Adam Grant. I hope it is, actually. Hello and welcome back to this episode of the Self-Development with Tactics fucking podcast. And I'm so fucking pumped to be here again because I really like those long-form just formats where I can just talk, where I can just go through certain things that I'm passionate about, certain things that I just like, giving some value to the people and giving some value to myself, and also an opportunity to build something. It is just incredible on so many bases, in so many ways, that it's just incredible. It's just really incredible. Just really now seeing that my hard drive actually is trying to make a backup. I just stopped it there. Gonna make one though. I just really have to, even though it just seems to be like I've done one yesterday. It's just doing it over and over again, automatically without actually asking myself because which is actually pretty great because you have all the kind of data you just always are using. You have them backed up, which is incredibly valuable and useful if you're just dealing with a lot of different especially a lot of data, which I'm doing right here. Every single episode has somehow like 2 gigabytes, 3 gigabytes, even a little bit more, a little bit less. It always depends, but it's still quite a lot, I do just have to say. As I already said in the intro, we will go through the hopefully last part of actually chapter 9, and also the questions and open-ended questions and the usables, it's actionables from Adam Grant's Give and Take, and I'm pretty pumped for that. So I think it's gonna be a pretty chilly episode. It's gonna be pretty just calm and easy, though energetic, I hope, but it's not gonna be a lot of reading there. It is something, but I guess it is just enough for this episode, and it's just enough to actually also fill the episode. So I do think that there is not gonna be just any boring stuff afterwards. At least I'm hoping it will be. Actually, yes, motherfucker. It's always nice if you actually have the window next to you, because sometimes it's actually somehow fucking it up, and I do just have to rearrange it, kind of reselect it so that it is actually there. So, chapter 9, Out of the Shadows. People generally believe that givers are the least successful of all 3 types, but Adam Grant argues vehemently that that's not true. Recall the example of VC David Hornick, Adam Rifkin, basketball scout Stu Inman, and the opticon salesperson Abraham Lincoln. Givers get to the top without cutting others down and pride their achievements by how much they help other people. And the rise of collaborative knowledge work and the internet enables givers to develop stronger reputations than ever before. And I do just really have to say that the internet is something that's incredibly just useful for the entrepreneurs and also for the artists of nowadays life and of nowadays kind of era and whatever you're thinking about. Yeah, I'm gonna make the zooms more often and I'm gonna be sad. Yeah. Gonna just have to use those effects that I'm actually also, or already actually implementing into the videos way more often. I do just really have to. It's just incredible, all the graphic designers, all the painters, and all the people who are just making sculptures as well do now have a platform, whether they're using Instagram or they're using Pinterest or they're using Tumblr. There's so many different communities out there that they can share their work on, which is incredible for them because, I'm just really thinking always about something that Seth Godin had said, which is that you just have to be an artist, some sort of. And, he also considers a person who is just, doing their, who is just, a salesperson, who is just having their own product. Everyone is somehow an artist. And an artist is not an artist if he's not kind of distributing his work or actually her work as well. So I'm quite always thinking about it. Even though now it sounds to be just a pretty silly thing, somehow to just, get it out of context or just, take it out of context and give it to you. But in the context, it is actually something valuable and something that I pretty enjoyed reading. So it's from the book, what is it called? Something with marketing, but I didn't remember. I do not remember. Fuck it. Yeah, never mind. So it's from Seth Godin. He is just a really, really, really famous and also good entrepreneur and marketer, especially marketer. And, the book that I was reading was, I think, one of the least favorites of mine, the least liked of mine, of him, because there's somehow like a lot of information that I already know and a lot of things that are somehow so, I do not want to say complicated, but there are so many metaphors that I actually sometimes do not understand what he's talking about, which is then somehow like a little bit sad. But still, it is a great book, and I think for a lot of people, it will definitely be a great book. For some, it just won't be the greatest one, which is, I think, the case for me. I think it's still a great book, but it's not like overwhelmingly like just incredible like How to Win Friends and Influence People was for me. But yeah, there are always different opinions on things and whatsoever. I still would suggest you to just, take a look at it or actually take a look at a summary of it. I've actually been featuring one summary or actually a few of the summaries of Seth Godin's book here on the channel and here on the podcast as well. So maybe you're just looking forward to Seth Godin books and, whatsoever. Maybe I'll pop up, and if you just, also add my name, the podcast episodes and or the YouTube videos actually will also pop up, hopefully. But yeah, I'm gonna read along. Or gonna start reading again. So once you read Give and Take, you might be tempted to become a strategic matcher, finding people and appearing as a giver to achieve all the benefits described in this book. It's unclear whether we should define reciprocity styles by the actions, the motives, or both. But Adam Grant believes that strategic matchers will ultimately betray themselves through disingenuous efforts, like Ken Lay. Eventually, these people will be found out. Thus, Grant suggests that matches may start out by giving in ways they find enjoyable to people they genuinely care about. Then, over time, they may adopt giving as part of their identity, which then leads to them just giving to everyone. And this was actually it with the book. Like with the actual last chapter, the chapter 9, it was quite, it really was quite a short. Yes, it was short. It was fucking short. Oh, God. I just really have to remember that I'm actually having these effects and that I should actually use them. For all the podcast listeners who do not actually know what I'm thinking about, there's a zoom effect and a black and white kind of theme. And then all these effects that I can access here on my board that I'm somehow having, and or the scenes that I'm having, and I'm not using them as often as I should be because it makes, or at least I hope that it is making the video a little bit better and a little bit more enjoyable, if it's not only me that's making it enjoyable, which is just something I would understand, Definitely sometimes I'm really just actually like, not like that enthusiastic about what I'm reading, or not that like just energetic and whatsoever. Something that I do not have to deal with today, fortunately. So the open questions. Here are a few open questions that came up after I wrote this give and take summary. Is giving/taking a natural disposition that's hard to change, or is it malleable? Is it just somehow, which means that shapeable, moldable, tractile, tensile, soft, pellet, ductile, plastic, or pliable. And there are some small things you can do, like try to cross the perspective gap. Adam Grant also suggests that starting with small acts of giving can cause cognitive dissonance, and eventually with the right virtuous cycle, takers can become givers. Which would be great if you just, have gone through the whole summary with me. You by now know that actually giving is something that's very, very important and very, very powerful, and it may I don't really want to say may, because I do not want to just, be like 100% quite sure about it, get successful with it, like to a high degree, I would say. But yeah. So how does reciprocity behavior correlate with gender, race, and income? In a footnote, Adam Grant explains that men and women are equally likely to be givers, but that women tend to be givers in close relationships and men are givers with strangers. For example, in emergencies, if poverty tends to associate with taking, then the resulting behavior backlash could be part of the poverty trap. So if poverty tends to associate with taking, then the resulting behavior backlash could be part of the poverty trap. I guess I see what he's just trying to say. If I may recap it, and you also could just really tell me if I'm just, interpreting it wrong, or if is it actually interpreting or interpreting? Yeah, never mind. If I'm interpreting it wrong or right, please comment down below in the, into the YouTube comments, or just, hit me up on Snapchat, and no, actually not Snapchat, but Instagram and Facebook and or Twitter, whatever you like the most. It would be, first of all, really interesting for me and also good for me to actually be told, okay, man, you told some shit there, and please correct it. Would be nice. Thank you. So I'm just thinking, like, if it is really like, which is something that I'm gonna question right now, if it is really like that women are general givers when it comes to just close relationships, but are takers and or at least matchers when it comes to just strangers and people they don't quite know that well, and then it somehow would make sense if it is in terms of actually having a job. Like, if you're having a job and you're an employee then you're just dealing with a stranger. And if it is really like that, if you're a giver and it's actually making you kind of successful and at least more likable, I think that somehow makes sense. And I think this is something that I could go through or could go for actually, that this is gonna make you more likable or likable at all. But if women in general wouldn't do it or don't do it with strangers in general, so also their employer, would also mean that they are somehow not as likely to be liked by the employer as men are. Somehow. I'm not quite sure about that thesis, to be honest. I'm just, trying to recap everything that I've been reading and everything that's just, gone through my mind. Maybe it's wrong, maybe it's right. I don't actually know. I'm really gonna be true and honest to you here. So doesn't the premise of this book, that givers tend to be more successful, contradict the idea that you can't give in the hopes of being more successful? Adam Grant suggests that the behaviors may be what mainly matters, regardless of the motives behind them, because of the impact on other people. So, contradict the idea that you can't give in the hopes of being more successful. I understand, like, actually giving with expectations, which is actually something that Gary Vee always says to not be doing, like, and it makes sense for me that because you want to give, because you want to give. So you're giving because you want to give, rather than, that it's somehow just, I don't know, like, but the thing is, if you're doing it, I was just, I just thought, like, if you're just doing it because it makes you feel good, which is somehow makes sense, and I've been talking about it in way too much episodes, is it then also something like, okay, an expectation that you're afterwards feeling good and you're also or only doing it for this case or for this thing? But I don't know. Maybe it's just a pretty big generalization of a lot of things, like saying, okay, you shouldn't just give with expectation, which is, to be really honest, it makes sense. But I think you're going really into debt, not that, but in depth, then it could, somehow be even good to have an expectation. Like, as I said, happiness and expectation, which is not something bad, but, what Gary, which is something that I just have to say, what he's always referring to is actually giving with the expectation that you're getting something back for it. which is not always the case. And the thing is, when people don't get something for it, which may be a mature, just somehow mindset, then yeah, they're feeling bad, and they're feeling bad about the person and won't give anything to the person any longer and whatsoever. So they're just feeling bad because they expected to get something, and maybe they trusted in them and they trusted in it, so the process, and they didn't get anything back. And then it lets them feel bad, which is just, understandable for me. So long story short, give without expectations, I would say. Yeah, I would really go for it. So what if your organization doesn't recognize givers? What if takers are at the top and tend to recognize other takers? Should you try to change the organization or move to a different company with a giving culture? Actually, a good question. Really good question. Adaptation has always been something that was quite important for us humans, I guess, whether it be in terms of, a really just biological standpoint, like, okay, there are reasons why I'm white. Like, there isn't much sun at my place. There's quite a low amount of sun. And therefore I'm just white because I will just, absorb all these lights way better. And all the vitamin D and whatsoever. It just makes sense. We have evolved to certain, types of people. Let's name it types of, so quote unquote types of people. And yeah, we have all certain characteristics that somehow make sense for the area we are living in. Like me as a white dude. Yeah. And I'm definitely not, I hope I'm not getting racist there, or I wasn't actually racist. I do not really want to attack someone. I'm just really giving a fuck what religion you're having, what skin color you're having. I just really hope that you're happy. And really hope that you're having a good life and a great life, and that you're actually enjoying this fucking episode. I really don't care, what skin color you're having, if you're somehow handicapped or not, if you're, I don't know. I just give a fuck. Are some industries inherently taker-driven? Startups are more open, while academia is zero-sum. If you publish before me, I lose all the value of my research. Perhaps Maslow's hierarchy at work. In a resource-poor environment where security and safety are questionable, giving may be a risky behavior since it's prone to exploitation by bad actors. Correlation and causation? Do more giving, people tend to be more inherently creative, thus they are less fearful of giving away ideas? Then the less capable ones are takers since they have less to give away. Frank Lloyd Wright seems to disconfirm this, unless all his best ideas were his appearances or apprentices. I think apprentices. I understand. You might know Maslow's hierarchy or pyramid. Actually, it's a pyramid of human needs, which actually includes safety and food and sex and feeling good in a psychological way or in a societal way, like just getting appreciation and love and all these things. And it makes sense that if you're just really in an environment where resources are poor and where security and safety are questionable, what does prone mean? Yeah, that it might not be the best idea to but there, I do just really have to say, okay, the author already said in just quite an upper part of, I think the summary it was, or just, I think just quite regularly he was telling us, and or me, whatever you would prefer, that you should not give everything away. You should not kind of drive yourself into poverty or some shit like this, only because you want to be a giver and only because you want to be successful and only because you want to get this and that and whatever, which is something giving will take you or give you. Kind of adaptation, I don't know. Just it's the same thing like giving at my place may be something completely different than giving in a complete another place, like in very poor countries and very poor cities, like, I don't know, somewhere in Africa or somewhere in the eastern sides and, whatsoever. It really might be like, okay, giving is completely something different. Here, giving, might be about ideas, might be about, giving appreciation, compliments, positivity, money as well in terms of charity and whatsoever. In just, I think in different countries, it will definitely be something else. It will definitely be like, I don't know, what could it be? Like giving safety to someone, giving a bed to sleep someone, and all these things. Like, yeah, it definitely will be something different in different locations. At least I'm thinking about it. Would actually be nice what you're thinking. Always interesting, which is the really great part, and I'm gonna recap that again once again. Why it's actually great that I'm going through books, even though it was something that I questioned myself, because it somehow makes the whole experience something like, okay, you could just go through the summary on yourself, and then you do not quite need my episodes, unless you really want to just listen to them and just have them as a podcast and or audio version. But if you're not, then you basically could go through the whole summary yourself, and you would definitely be maybe even way faster. And this was something maybe I quote unquote feared somehow even. And but yeah, I still think, we have so many different opinions. We have the opinion of the author of the book itself. We have the opinion of the author of the book summary. We have the opinion of me, and you have the opinion of yourself. And if there were any people in the comments, and there will be some people in the comments hopefully in the near future, then you're having a fifth and then, eventually also sixth opinion about this book, which is, the community, which is the fifth one, if I haven't named it yet. And the sixth one would actually be yourself. So we have the author of the book, the author of the summary, me, you, and the community. Okay, it's actually five. 5 opinions on this whole thing, which could be very, very useful and very, very great for you to actually get a very clear picture of what you're reading and what you're hearing and what you're getting information about. But yeah, I'm gonna not speed through it, but gonna read it. So the actionables. Here are actionables arising directly from give and take or inspired by its concepts. Adopt a giving attitude. If this isn't your natural orientation, start with small giving behaviors to people you care about. Ask in every interaction, how can I help you? Something very great, something deeply great, I guess, because people will appreciate it. People will definitely appreciate it, even though I'm just really thinking that a lot of people will just say no. I think this is just what people do. Or maybe it's just, what I'm doing. I'm generally saying no to quite everything. Especially if someone's trying to sell me something. Like, something that I experienced quite often just lately is that people are actually somehow trying to sell me something, but the thing there is that you can't sell me anything. The only thing that I'm using my money for is fucking food. Like the fucking things that I put into my mouth, and I won't spend a dime on anything else. Anything. Unless it's something that I really need. Like just a new cable for my phone because I wouldn't just be able to kind of charge it up again. Some things like this. And a lot of other things like that might break down, like, headphones and shit like this. But on a regular basis, I'm only actually just kind of using my money for food. Yeah. Just kind of add this. I don't know, quite unnecessary, but I just thought like, yeah, it's really the case. And I'm really thinking bad for the people who are actually hitting me up being like, okay, what you're doing, do you feeling great? Do you want to have Bitcoins or something like this? Which is, I appreciate it. I appreciate actually that the people take the time. The problem that I'm having there is that I'm actually just somehow, unfortunately, starting a conversation with them, like a pretty normal one, like how you're doing, whatsoever. And this isn't just wasting their time, just a lot, It's not about my time. It's really not about my time because I'm just only replying at certain times of the day. but I'm really fucking wasting their time, and which is something that I'm quite sometimes even feeling very bad about, because I could just be like, okay, you can't sell me anything, so why you, just hit somebody else up. Something that I often do, just really explaining them, okay, I've actually yesterday I did this, I explained this person, okay, I'm not spending any money on anything, so I won't buy your stuff, but I wish you the best for actually getting a new customer, or getting any customer. But yeah, maybe I should tell them in front that, or before the whole conversation, that I'm really hard to sell, just out of nowhere. The problem there is, if somebody is actually hitting me up because, he or she wants to tell me something about a video or whatsoever it will be, then it wouldn't be so nice. Then it would really not be so nice. But yeah. So make your giving reputation known. This will increase reception by people approaching you no matter which of 3 stances they belong to. Promote a giving attitude in your org. Set the example for helping people willingly and for focusing on the goals of the group above your own gain. Publicly reward the behavior of people who demonstrates this. And is this possible if you're the boss and they feel underpaid? Try to develop psychological safety around ideas so people don't feel they have to claim credit for ideas. Run a reciprocity ring. To cross the perspective gap, understand the pain of others in the contributions, empathy, keyword, rather than centering around your own contributions. This applies to both subordinates, colleagues, and bosses. Avoid the Jonas Salk credit problem. So I'm going to read this again. To cross the perspective gap, understand the pain of others in their contributions rather than centering around your own contributions. This applies to... Not quite getting it. I'm somebody feeling like, okay, you should actually acknowledge and somehow see other people's ideas, whether it be a boss, whether it be a subordinate, whatever it will be, and listen to them. And getting empathy into the game and being like, okay, I understand what he's saying and I'm understanding the idea, or you're trying hard to do it. I'm not quite sure. So in reviews, ask people first to itemize what they like about a company and what we have done for them. This will minimize the responsibility bias of their own actions. To avoid perspective gap, it's pretty great, I would say, by asking them, okay, what do you like about the company? He's actually having to make up his mind, or she is actually having to make up his mind and tell you. There at least has to be something. And, I think people get stuck at this at their own opinion, because they're making their own opinion on something. You're not telling them, okay, we're the greatest company on fucking earth, but they just have their own opinion on these things. And they won't be they won't be I don't know, they just understand it. Maybe it's just putting it into their head. I quite don't know how I'm, going to explain it. They just really know what they're thinking, or you basically are telling them what they are thinking, and maybe they haven't even realized what they were thinking. They understand. Maybe you're just programming the people, maybe just influencing them and just them into a really, really kind of sneaky way. But yeah. Try to hire givers. Takers will bring down a culture when people default to tit for tat. One bad actor can really spoil the whole batch. To emphasize with their subordinates in tough situations, induce the same pain in yourself. Make a list of situations similar to those they are facing and reflect on these regularly. For example, list one time negative feedback really hurt, when positive feedback made you feel good, and when you had a project taken away from you, when your boss or colleague took credit for your work, when you felt underpaid for your work, and when you had a deep Maslow's hierarchy need that wasn't fulfilled. Very important, I guess. As they said, emphasize. Understand the people around you. Put yourself into the shoes of this certain person. It's really simple, but I think it's very effective, and it should be something that everybody should be doing it. It is really, really, really fucking important. Besides being kind and besides, all these things that I'm quite always preaching, that I'm just, getting into myself from Gary Vee and other people and what I'm just thinking myself about. Most of the time actually Gary Vee, because he's incredibly just good person. Like, he has a great array of qualities in terms of his skill, his emotional intelligence, all these things, just amazing. Recognize when someone is failing to emphasize with you or another person, and point out whether they have accurate data on the counterparty's preferences. Don't buy gifts or registry. You're projecting your own preferences onto the recipient. What is registry? Thank you. Don't buy gifts of registry. You're projecting your own preferences onto the recipient. For your kids, find teachers who are caring and enthusiastic and make learning the subject fun. This will develop an interest and allow kids not to distrust teachers' motives. To avoid burnout from giving, make the impact of people's work salient. Create customer videos, publicity testimonials, and results, because you can share them. You can tell them, is this something that I do? Is this something that Gary does? Is this something that a lot of social media people just do? Is it like more about telling people? Could actually be the case, but I don't know. 5-minute favor. If you can help someone within 5 minutes, do so. Give honest feedback and make introductions. Practice powerless communication, ask questions, seek advice, and admit vulnerability. This should open people up. When negotiation for your own self-interest, take the viewpoint of an advocate of people you care about. This will make you fight harder on their behalf. Like, okay, I want to get a higher wage because then I would be able to just feed my children a better food. Like, talking in the interest of your children and or your spouse and whatsoever. Practice perspective taking rather than empathy. Conversely, if you want to take advantage of a giver, make them feel really bad about your situation and make your concession seem painful. Yeah. You could really do this, and I'm really just feeling this would just work, but isn't it a little bit fucked up if you just, this person is a giver, and I'm just, trying to feel as much pain as possible so that he's giving me something. Like, morals and ethics. Find other givers by joining a giving community. Let's make one. Seek help more often. This can kick off a virtuous cycle of giving where people tend to enjoy helping. And the last one is, in couples, advocate for your side to find the best joint outcome, and don't let empathy bowl you over. Empathy is amazing. Empathy is fucking strong. Yeah, this was it. Actually, with the episode and also the book. It's been an amazing book. It's been a really long book. Has been really long. Even though I do just have to say certain episodes were just so long without any content and with any content, from the book. Sometimes I really get stuck in certain points or at certain points where I'm then just thinking like, okay, I just have to explain this. I just have to talk, way more about it. And then suddenly, okay, it's the end of the episode and I have only been just talking about one singular paragraph of the whole fucking thing, not even a chapter. Like, if I would have done a chapter each episode, it would have only been 12 episodes. And I still think it's more than these 12 episodes. It should really be, I guess, at least. Maybe not that much more. I think I've been going through this one for 2 weeks now. Should be just really, I think, accurate, because also there was a 1-page summary before, like the whole summary, which makes it even a little bit longer, but it's great. This is a summary, to recap it, from the alanchang.com website, which is an amazing website if you're searching for very detailed book summaries where you actually can learn something from. And not like those summaries, like, I don't want to say bad about any summary sites, because it's a lot of work to actually even make a 1-sentence summary or 3-sentence summary as James Clear is doing on books. Like it's really amazingly hard because like, yeah, you first of all have to read all these books and you second of all have to make up your mind, what you're gonna just write about it. What's the most important part about it? Even though it's subjective, I would say it's just still just a hard decision and a tough one. But yeah, it's been a great episode. And I sometimes, drift a little bit away into some things that I'm just then only assuming and only just thinking about. Some things that I'm just only having in my head and I think that I just get out to you, which is not always the best thing, because sometimes I'm talking shit and sometimes it's something that's not that accurate, that's not that like, it's like, the thing that I'm having in this moment in my mind. And I just have to practice actually not doing this and maybe being a little bit more thoughtful about what I'm talking, because yeah, it might be really just worthwhile the effort, and I think it really is. But yeah, I still wish you the best, and this is from the bottom of my fucking heart, the best health, wealth, happiness, and success. I hope you succeed, I hope you be healthy, and I hope you're so fucking happy. I really hope this from my fucking bottom of my fucking heart, to be really honest. I wish that everyone was happy. Like, not all the time, because also the bad parts about life are just valuable. And yeah, just think about how you're gonna be remembered. Like, what's the speaker on your funeral is going to say? Have you been a really bad person or have you been a really good person? And this is actually what you decide during your lifetime. With that being said, I wish you the best. I see you.